eyes. I'm actually going to create a little bit of contrast between her skin and her lips by lowering the reds down to maybe around there, maybe somewhere around 4. I might actually push that down as far as about 10 or 11. That does create a nice bit of contrast between the lips and the rest of her skin tone. I'm going to zoom out and see where we are as an overall image. I like the contrast that we have now between the skin and the background. That looks nice. And her skin is still nice and smooth. We haven't messed anything up by changing our sliders, at least not significantly. So let's see what we can do with this tattoo, if anything. There were some purples in here, as I recall. Let's see if we can darken those by moving the purple slider down. Well, the change is very subtle. Very subtle. How about the blues? Again, not much change. So it looks like we're really not going to be able to do a whole lot with the tattoo, but that's okay. It's pretty prominent anyway. Okay, I think this looks pretty good. I think the only thing that I might do before I open this up is actually add an effect. I'm going to add a little bit of post-crop vignette just to darken up that background and edges a little bit more. There we go. I like it like that. So I'm going to now open up this image and see if there are any changes that I want to make in Photoshop. Now, taking a look at the image in Photoshop, I don't actually see a whole lot of dramatic changes that I want to make. I might want to brighten up the eyes a little bit. I might want to bring out a little bit of detail in the hair. But otherwise, we're just about done. So let me actually begin by converting this image to RGB, just in case I want to make some tonal changes later. And then I'll zoom in and get a better look at her eyes. There we go. And I'll scroll up so I can see some of her hair too. Good. Now I'm going to create a curves adjustment layer. The same thing could probably be done with the levels or a variety of other adjustment layers, but I like curves. I'm just going to pull the top part of my curve up and actually keep the bottom part of my curve a little bit low so that I don't lose the blacks in her pupils. Let's take a look at that difference. Yeah, that looks like it'll be good. Okay, but of course I don't want this to affect the entire image, I just want it to affect her eyes. So I'm going to click on my adjustment layer and the layer mask in specific, press Ctrl-I, and that inverts it. And now, with a white paintbrush, painting on my layer mask, I can just brush in some of that brightness. And we'll do that in both eyes. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer and make one more pass in this part of her eye. There we go. I like that change. Let's see what this looks like with the curves layer hidden. Darker, brighter. It's a nice, subtle, but still significant change. Okay, now let's go take a look at the hair a little bit. Now I think to work on her hair, I'll zoom out just a little bit so that I can get a better overall view. There we go. And I've got a white paintbrush again, this time a little bit larger. And here I am just brushing a little bit of extra detail into her hair. And again, this isn't making a really dramatic change. that's okay. I'm not looking for really major dramatic changes here. I just want a little bit of extra highlight detail. Okay, let's just zoom out a little bit and take a look at the effects of the changes we've made. I'm going to hide this curves layer. And you can see the change in the hair, certainly, and in the eye. Let me put that back on. Yeah, I like those changes. But of course, the nice thing about working with an adjustment layer like this is, if I didn't like the changes in part of the hair, for example, I could just switch back to a black paintbrush, click on my layer mask, and then go paint out those changes, essentially erase them. Or I can always go into the curve and make changes to the curve, and either brighten or darken those things independently. If this were primarily a retouching video, there are a couple of other things that I might want to do. I might want to create another adjustment layer and come in and tone down some of these hot spots a little bit. But I like the tonality in the face, so I'm not going to worry about that here. And I might go in and retouch a couple of little blemishes in the skin. But as I say, that stuff is really better for a retouching video. So what is there left that we might want to do here? Well, we could certainly tone it, but I actually like this one in just plain classic grayscale. So I think I'll leave it as it is there. And in fact, I think I like this photo how it is. I will just go ahead and call it quits. As much as I'd like to continue working, this video series is already probably pushing the 2-hour mark, and the boundaries of everyone's patience at the same time. So, if you've actually made it this far, I hope that you've found the information useful and are able to apply it to your own work in the future. Please remember that you can follow Light and Matter on Twitter and like us on Facebook, and you'll be notified when new videos are released. And of course, you can always become a registered member of Light and Matter and ask questions or start discussions on the forums. So, until next time, this is Matthew Gore, saying, keep clicking, my friends.